This is episode 31. It's all about stress eating, and Helena and I are going to talk a lot about what causes stress eating, overeating, looking for that high for all the wrong reasons kind of thing, right? So Helena's going to talk about that from our educational point of view because that's what we like to do here on the Emotion Code Diva show. I am Dana J. Smithers, and I am one of the Emotion Code Divas. Helena Jenikin is the other one. And yes, there are other Emotion Code practitioners out there, but you know what? We're a little bit diva-like, and we kind of like to bring a little bit of sassiness to the Emotion Code Divas because, we're here to educate, inform. We're going to do a session today on someone that is really suffering a lot from overeating, excessive eating, and what is ultimately called stress eating. But there are triggers and reasons for that. So Helena's going to talk about that. I'm going to do her session today, as well as a certified emotion code practitioner. I'm also a certified law of attraction coach. So I do like to work with people that are maybe women in business. I do work with entrepreneurs, but anybody that's going through maybe a relationship that's kind of off the rocks, maybe you're just not feeling well in your life. I do like to work with chakras. I've just finished taking some Reiki courses, which have really helped me get more in touch and make a connection, which is what we do, Helena and I do, when we do an emotion code session, or whether she's doing hypnosis or not. There's that saying that you can never solve the problem on the level of the problem, which is why we go into emotion code and reach out to a higher level. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to get started shortly and go through the 7 keys to doing an emotion code. And Helena, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Dana. I am Helena Duncan. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner and a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I specialize in helping people release excess weight. I help them stop smoking. I am the StopSmokingLady.com. Also, helping people release, let go of anxiety, whether that be social anxiety or lately I've been really focusing in on dental anxiety. And with all my sessions, when I see people in my office for hypnosis, then I always use the emotion code. But I also love to see people online over Skype, FaceTime, Messenger. The emotion code just works wonderfully that way.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and we're just going to let you know where we learned this emotion code from. It's from, you can purchase this book, Dr. Bradley Nelson's book, The Emotion Code. And there's lots of case studies in it. There's techniques about how to do muscle testing that Helena and I are going to talk about as well. And also the steps that you go through to do a session. You can definitely learn to do this yourself and on yourself. But I know from my experience with with hiring emotion code practitioners to help me that it's been very, very beneficial, even a bit more beneficial than myself doing it, although I do find that just meditating and getting centered can sometimes just, slow down the stress or whatever's going on in my life. So the first thing that we need to do a session, and I have that today from Leslie, is called getting permission. So what's that all about, Helena?
Permission. We need permission from the person that we're going to be working with because we are not able to just randomly help people that we see on the street or young children or animals without the permission of that person, the adult or the owner of the animal.
Exactly. And then the next thing is we need to have
their proxy.
Exactly. So what that means is if someone is absent, we do a lot of distant healing. Helena does have an office, so she does have people come into her office. She'll tell you about that at the end of the show. But I mainly do mine. It could be on Blue Jeans. It could be on Facebook. It could just be on Skype, or it could be a phone call. If we've worked with someone before, then we might get an email from them. We might do a quick check-in or whatever with them. But we become their proxy because they're not present with us. So they've given us permission to act on their behalf, And as their proxy, we are then going to tap into our subconscious, which is really their subconscious, once we have made that connection with them, which is why we don't handle things on this level, right? We have to go up a little bit higher to get that connection with them. And then the next thing that we ask is, what is the severity?
Mhm. Severity, we ask for the severity, the conscious answer from our
Yeah.
client, rating between 1 and 10, 10 being severe, because we want to know where they are consciously feeling. Now, we will ask their subconscious mind to confirm that number, and often it is a different number. But our intention is to bring that number down, lower it, and even make it a 0. We like to work on items and issues that are like a 7, 8, 9, or a 10.
Yeah, because most people won't be contacting us unless it is, I'd say 7 or over. And it's interesting because we do, once we have their proxy and we're checking, doing the muscle testing of yes and no, sometimes they say, well, it's maybe a 6 or 7, and we check and we go, no, we got a 10 here, right? So that's what we're always doing, is just making sure, because sometimes you can think it's a certain something, and since we work with severity levels all the time, we understand it more than the person just giving us a severity level. And then the next thing that we're going to do is called muscle testing.
Muscle testing. I love muscle testing. It's just so wonderful. And the way that I do muscle testing, so I have the agreement with my subconscious mind that when I link my 2 fingers, I circle my fingers like this, and I think about the word yes, yes, my finger locks together. When I think about the word no, they just fall apart. They just slip apart so easily. So, Dana, when we're working with a client, we can only ask yes or no questions.
Exactly.
And that's so, yes. Now, how do you do your muscle testing?
Mine's a little bit different, and again, this is in the book. I put my index and thumb finger together. I take my other 2 fingers, middle and index, and that's a no, and that's a yes. Occasionally, I will use a pendulum. Sometimes if I have a person here, I will test the chakras with the pendulum. And it's very interesting to see which chakras are open or closed. And even in emotion code, I do work, if there's things going on, maybe there's stomach issues or whatever, I'm going to ask, is this in the solar plexus? Is it the sacral chakra, the root, or whatever? And I'll get an answer. But a pendulum will do the same thing as well. I just find a pendulum takes longer, and I kind of like quicker results. So but definitely there's lots of different ways that you can do that. So what we're actually muscle testing on and asking for yes and no answers is what's called the emotion code chart. So when we're asking something, we're going to ask, is it in column A or is it in column B? And then we're going to go down and ask if it's an even row or an odd row. And then once we know that, then we'll take a look at, there's 5 emotions in each section, and we'll go through each one. So let's say it was row 4, column A. I'm going through, is it anger? Is it bitterness? Is it guilt? Is it hatred? Is it resentment? And also these emotions, when they pop up, they're also associated with body parts. So that's another guide that Dr. Bradley Nelson gives us. So once we have the emotion, we know what it is. The next step is to clear it.
To clear it, we clear it with magnets.
Exactly. So we all have a little bit different magnets. I have different ones that I use for different things. But what we're going to do is the magnet is actually going to, once that trapped emotion comes up to the surface, it's going to demagnetize it. So when it is the person's trapped emotion, we're going to release it by working with, we have energy centers, we have the chakras, we have really hundreds of energy centers all throughout our body. But we work with the governing meridian, which we work from the top of the lip and down to the base of the spine, and we demagnetize that emotion 3 times by doing that, and then we do a check. Did I release it? And if I get a no, or we get a no, then we'll do further work with that. So that's that. And then the last thing,
Hydrated practitioner.
Exactly. Especially today, we are recording in the summertime, so it is indeed a little bit warm in here. So Helena, let's go ahead and say hello to some viewers. I know we've had little minor technical difficulties in the past, and so we are back on track. And yeah, we got lots of viewers today. So Susan Darnell has become a regular follower. So thanks, Suzanne. She always leaves comments too, and I know she's working on a lot of things. And Suzanne also does Psy-K, which is another type of healing. There's lots of energy healing modalities. You just need to find the ones that really resonate with you. So we've got one of our favorites from across the ocean, Natasha Paula Samuel. Thanks, Natasha. I love that she's done our hashtag emotion code divas. And who else do you see, Helena?
I see Daniela Trenchell.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, ladies. We've got Leslie Marshall. She's watching this.
Yeah, and I'm going to be working on Leslie today.
And Deborah Harney Greger. Good morning, girls. She says.
Good morning. And I hope to hear from a woman named Dawn. I can't quite remember her last name. It's a hyphenated name. I worked on her, let's see what show it was, Fear of Flying, episode 27. And I knew that she was going to be flying in August 10th, actually. So I've checked in with her. And she said going there was good, not so much. Like she was super stressed out. So she's going to let me know today how it was. She just got back last night. So we'll find out from that. But it's always good for us to hear how did the session work. And I know Kelly Mae Glover has made quite a few comments about working with you, Helena. So that's super good as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get working on Leslie. So she has indicated that her severity is a 10. And she's given me permission, so I'm going to be her proxy. I just like to do, I have a prayer that I like to do, and I know in one of the episodes we shared the prayer, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, get quiet, get connected, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on her. And Helena, I know you're going to talk about a lot of things that cause stress and childhood and all of that, and one of the things that I've noticed and what we were talking about earlier is also grieving. When people are grieving, it's a big thing going on, and if you never clear those emotions, they'll just keep getting triggered and triggered and triggered and triggered. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug and just go ahead and do this.
So excellent. I actually, because I see so many clients for weight release, I have a weight release program. I use something called virtual gastric band technique. It installs a gastric band around the person's stomach virtually with the power of your mind and hypnosis. I see people about 3 to 4 times for that program, and when I'm working with people, we get into the reasons for their habits, consciously what they think it is. And a lot of the times what I'm finding is that the emotional stress eating is a result of something in their childhood that is unresolved, that's kind of eating away at them. So with the hypnosis technique, we do a thing called regression to cause, and we find out where the issue lies. Now, when I do emotion code work with people, I'm able to ask them questions about the blocks and the emotions. Sometimes we can release it very easily and quickly, and sometimes we need to know more information. And when we need to know more information, we start to look for the age. And so one of the common things that I find is that when a person goes back in time and there's a time when there's been an upset, a hurt, a loss, something that they haven't processed, or if they were very young, they may have not been able to have the perception or the knowledge as an adult. So when you're a child and you come home from school and you had a really terrible day, maybe the kids were bullying you or they made a comment or something, and then you come home and maybe your mom or your grandma or your dad or someone's there and they go, oh, that's okay, honey, have a cookie. Or you're at a party and you're feeling maybe a little left out and something, and then someone said, oh, that's okay, have a piece of cake, and you feel better. So very early on, you start to learn and associate when I don't feel good, have a treat, have some food. And it brings comfort because maybe some companionship there, maybe there's some love there, maybe it just feels good to have it because you're just linking the association. So later on in life, what happens is whenever we're feeling bad, we naturally reach for the food because the food is reminiscent of love and companionship, and it's going to be okay. So that's why a lot of people naturally go to food. Now, also, people might be stress eating because they're trying to stuff down their emotions. We just go for putting a mug in your mouth, or a cookie, or beverage, or even alcohol, or a pop or something, and oh yeah, that makes me feel better because you're occupying your mind and your mouth. And what happens though is on a physical level too, your body is maybe getting some extra sugar, and sugar gives you a quick high and feel good feelings. And you go, oh yeah, that feels better. But as we know, with sugar, you get the high and then you get the low, the very, very low. And so then you're into the cycle of having something to pick you up, and then you're back down. So my suggestion to you is if you're in a stressful situation, if you're finding that you're stress eating, you're starting to look around for food, notice if a piece of chicken or some other protein, maybe a hard egg or turkey or a piece of fish or a tuna, something like that. If that's what you really want and you're hungry, that tells you that you're hungry and you want to satisfy yourself. But if you're looking for the cookie, the chips, the snacks, the pop, well, that's not really food, is it? Those are sugar is not a food. Processed hydrogenated fat is not a food that your body needs or wants even. So then it's looking at the emotions. The emotion code can help, hypnosis can help, quiet, deep, slow breathing, asking the questions, what is it that I want? So what do I want? And focusing your mind to what you want. So if you're finding that you're stress eating, fill yourself up with some protein. Hydrate your body with clean, clear, fresh water. Get some fresh air, maybe some sunlight if you can. Go for a quick little walk around the block. Just get yourself out of the situation that you're in. Perhaps you're the person that likes to journal. What's bothering you? And it's okay to feel and think about stuff that's bothering you as long as you do it briefly. And then ask the questions, what do I want? Because you want to shift your vibe, shift your energy, shift your outlook. And when you ask that, so what is it that I want? So what do I want? And you focus on the things that you do want. And then you start to think about how I'm in the process of making changes. I'm in the process of attaining my goals. I'm in the process of changing my work. I'm in the process of whatever it is. If you're finding that you're stuck, and this is why working with an emotion code practitioner or someone else is really beneficial, because they can just tune in and ask other questions. Maybe you're just going around in the loop, you're not quite sure, and you're stuck. So reach out to someone, myself or Dana or another emotion code practitioner, some other practitioner. Allow them to ask the questions and find out the underlying reason as to why you're stress eating. Find out why you're stressful and deal with it, get it out of the way. Maybe it's grieving, whatever it might be. Just go do the work so you can feel better. So Dana, what did you find out today?
Well, interesting, a lot of emotions, and they all came out very, very quickly. And there was one that I'll talk about that stayed a little bit longer. So primarily where these emotions were trapped from the chakra perspective was the heart. So Leslie may also have a heart wall, which I suspect she does from what she disclosed to me in our text. The heart, the solar plexus, which is all the stomach and spleen area, and then the sacral area, which is down, it's just 2 inches below your belly button. So it's kind of creativity, sexual energy, all of that. So those were the three chakras that seem to be blocked the most. So Leslie, the emotions that I released for you were despair, insecurity, disgust, anxiety, worry, betrayal, and then there was a deep, deep sense for me of this next one, which is lost. So feeling lost in life, not knowing what your purpose is or where to go or whatever. You might want to check out a program that I have, which is called Sacred Gifts. That would give you some idea of, there's 24 sacred gifts. We all have 3 to 5. Leslie and all other viewers. I mean, it's really important. I found that once you know them, you have a lot more reverence for yourself, and it can also start in the healing process for you, because that one of feeling lost, it was so heavy in me, so heavy. And then low self-esteem, trapped emotion of pride, shame, and shock. And then something that we call a psychic trauma is when the two emotions are trapped together. So Helena and I have these lemons, which represents the smallest trapped emotion that you have. It's an energy ball. They can be as big as a cantaloupe, but I got to get another lemon, Helena. I've decided. But yeah, when they're two of them trapped together, it's called a psychic trauma. So what came up for you there was feeling unworthy and worthless. So just something I'm just going to check in here right now. I'm just going to make sure that I've separated from you, that I'm back to being Dana, because that's something too, as a practitioner, sometimes we forget to do that. So as much as I respect and love you, Leslie, I don't want to carry your stuff around because, I've got my own stuff. We've all got our own stuff. So this is not unique to Leslie or any of our other viewers, but that's what we do need to do. So when we're finished, both Helena and I have to come back. So am I Leslie? So I've got to know, am I Dana? So I've got a yes. And then also know part of the processing that you're going to go through. It's different for everybody. So I know some of my clients, most everybody feels lighter. That's the standard comment. And I think that's because you've reached out, and I believe that's an intention that you set. And when we set our intention and you ask for help, you will receive it. How it comes to you, that's up to the universe, creator, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, because Helena and I don't know. We just do the work. Every type, whether Helena's doing hypnosis or I'm doing Reiki or whatever, we can't determine what the outcome is going to be. We can make suggestions and share information, but then the work is up to you after that. So Helena, I'm going to check and see who else is watching us and give some shout outs.
When we work with clients on our Ocean Code Divas show, the sessions that we're doing are quite rapid, and just a few minutes long. Typically, we like to see clients for 30 to 45 minutes, and so that we go in and do a lot of work and clean up a lot, give some guidance and suggestions, a little coaching during our sessions. And
okay. So a few shout outs. This is interesting. Leslie said something. Pamelia Bell. Good morning. Do you know Pamelia?
I do know Pamelia.
Okay, very good. First of all, I thought it said Parmelia or Permelia. We both know Permelia.
Yes.
And then Chris says hi. And so Leslie says, she was told, she's got this exclamation mark, clean your plate, right? And I know we were not allowed to leave until, everything was cleaned off our plate. Mind you, we didn't, it was all healthy food that we were given. So she's saying the worst thing a parent can say to a kid, I have a really hard time leaving food on the plate, and I started using smaller plates. That's a really, really excellent idea. Both Helena and I have weight loss programs. Helena's is more in depth than mine, but mine is a 4-week one where we're looking at, teaching you techniques and giving you tips and tools of, things that you can do. Certainly, this is one of the big ones. Drink a lot of this all day long, even before you have a meal. Yep. Free. And then the smaller portions. And of course, I'm sure Helena mentioned it, think about before, you go and have that food or drink, right?
Yep.
Because that's all around the stressing. Why are you doing it? Right? If you could just tap in for a minute and say, okay, why am I doing this? Sometimes Helena and I have had this conversation, but for me, it might be cheesies. Although I've not had cheesies for, I don't know, it might even be a year.
Cheesy, that's amazing because cheesy was something too. That I had another motion code practitioner release. It was mid-September. I don't eat cheesies anymore. I can buy them. I don't eat them because my husband likes them. If he wants to eat them, he can. But I, it's amazing how they're just gone.
Yeah, I haven't eaten them. Although I have to say, jujubes have entered my life a bit. And I bought a few and I mentioned it to my sister. So what does she do? Buys me a bag like that. It's like, what? But anyway, my husband's eating them. So, and we both like different colors, but it's like, okay, that jar's gone. No more jujubes. Sylvia Bellini says, how do us? So it looks like she's just joined us, and that's great. And yes, there is a replay. This will be up. We'll also post it on our YouTube channel. So Leslie, let us know how you're feeling, and Leslie, know that you are loved, and that everybody has their journey in this lifetime. For someone else, it could be an addiction to drinking, it could be drugs, it could be sex, it could be shopping, it could be anything, right? So it's just, for all of us to find somebody to work with and start releasing these trapped emotions, because until they're gone, you'll just see them triggered over and over and over in your life. So Helena and I are very committed to helping the world and people that are attracted to us, who want to work with us, do that. So Helena, how can people reach you?
People reach me through my website, which is flourishhypnosis.com/emotion-coach. I have a Facebook page, I'm on YouTube.
And your other website?
Oh, my other website, of course, beststopsmokinglady.com. It was, this last weekend, I had to stop smoking clients come into my office, and those sessions were very, very different. And I'm just really happy that I have lots of techniques to help people with whatever shows up.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not always, it might be the smoking, but there's something that's causing it, right? Just like,
that's right.
Yeah, I find a lot, even with things that people come to us, and we peel down that rose, right, until we get to that rosebud. And that's why it's good, if you're going to work with us, to have the 3 sessions, because then we can really, trust starts to build up more, and also openness, so that we can work better for you. Yeah. So you can find me at empoweredwomeninbusiness.com. That's my YouTube channel as well. We would love for you to share this. And next week is episode 32, lack of self-confidence. So that can show up, I believe that shows up in the form of sometimes, not standing in your power. We say that a lot, right? I consider that acting a little bit more as a victim and not being empowered. Just feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, but there are techniques and tools that you can use to build your confidence up, right? And sometimes it's just taking smaller steps of something, especially if it's something new for you. So join us for that show. Please share, invite your friends. And so that is it from Helena Jenikin and Dana J. Smithers, the Emotion Code Divas, on this sunny day.
In your new office.
In my new office, yes. I've kind of got it all set up, all redesigned. You can go into my personal page, Dana Smithers, and you can see the reveal that I did. I used to be a stager and interior decorator and redesigner, so this is totally changed, and it's just about getting everything ready where I need it. You know, it's changed, right? Like I'm so used to everything being right there. It's like, where did I put that? So, and I'm a pretty organized person. That's one of my sacred gifts. So got that all together. All right, then. That's it for us. Have yourselves an awesome day.
Bye.